Under the flickering glow of a kerosene lantern, in the heart of Enugu's bustling Ogbeti market, an old man huddled against the cold night wind. His tattered wrapper hung like a ghost's shroud. His once proud frame bent low, hands trembling as they clutched a cracked clay bowl. But it wasn't hunger that etched lines of sorrow on his weathered face. No, it was a deeper ache, one that clawed at the soul like the roots of an ancient Iroko tree. For in his eyes, hidden beneath the brim of a frayed cap, burned a father's desperate fire. To see his only son wed, before the ancestors claimed him whole. Before we continue, please subscribe to Nigerian Storytelling Time and turn on the notification bell for more unforgettable stories like this one. Our tale begins in the dusty village of Umuahia, where the Harmattan winds carry the scent of yam farms and the distant rumble of thunder from the hills. Chief Emeka Okonkwo was a man of the soil, his hands calloused from years of tilling red earth, his voice once booming like the village gong during festivals. He had built a modest compound with mud walls and thatched roofs where palm wine flowed freely at naming ceremonies and the air hummed with the laughter of grandchildren. Though, alas, his own home echoed with silence. Emeka's wife, Nneka, had joined the ancestors 5 harvests ago, taken by the fever that swept through like a vengeful spirit. She left behind their pride, their only son, Chaike. Chaike was the son to Emeka's earth, tall and broad-shouldered, with eyes like polished obsidian, and a laugh that could coax smiles from the sternest elder. Educated in the city, he had returned from Lagos with dreams of modern farming, machines that tilled without sweat, and a small cooperative that promised prosperity for Umuahia's youth. The villagers whispered praises. Chaike, the one who brings light to our darkness. But beneath that light lay a shadow. Chike had turned 28 without a single kola nut offered in betrothal. Suitors' daughters paraded before him, like peacock feathers at the New Yam Festival. Beautiful girls in colorful ankara, with wrappers tied high, and beads clinking like soft music. But he waved them away with a polite smile that never reached his eyes. "Why, my son?" Emeka would plead during their evening meals, as the aroma of agusi soup thickened the air and the crickets. They sat on low stools by the hearth, the fire casting dancing shadows on the walls adorned with Nneka's faded photographs. Chike would poke at his fufu, his voice steady but laced with old pain. "Papa, marriage is not a market transaction. I seek a heart that beats true, not one chasing shadows of wealth or status. The women here, they see my land, my title, but not me." Emeka's heart twisted like kola nut under the knife. He remembered Nneka's words before she passed. "Emeka, our boy must find joy, or he will wither like unwatered maize." The chief had consulted the dibia, the village healer, who burned herbs and murmured to the spirits. "The ancestors say patience," the dibia rasped, his eyes milky as river fog. But patience was a luxury for the young. Emeka felt the weight of his years, 62 now, his bones aching with every step. What if he departed without seeing Chika's children scamper through the compound, their tiny feet? One moonless night, as thunder rumbled low like an angry god, Emeka sat alone under the mango tree in the courtyard. The leaves rustled secrets, and in that hush, a plan bloomed like the first rains of the season. Mad, perhaps, but born of love's fierce necessity. He would become the shadow, the unseen tester of hearts. Disguised as a beggar, he would wander the markets and paths, seeking a woman whose kindness pierced the veil of pretense. Not for himself, but for Chika. "If she pities a wretched old man," he whispered to the stars, "she will cherish my son." The next dawn, Emeka shed his chief's agbada like a serpent's skin. He wrapped himself in rags scavenged from the refuse heap, faded cloth smelling of earth and forgotten rains, smeared his face with ash to age his wrinkles deeper, and clutched a gourd for alms. Footsteps crunching on gravel as he slipped from the compound gate, heart pounding like festival drums. He told Chika he journeyed to Abba for herbs, a white lie that sat heavy as pounded yam in his throat. Then he vanished into the winding roads toward Enugu, where the city's pulse beat faster, drawing villagers like moths to flame. Ogbete Market was a symphony of life, Women haggling over pyramids of oranges, Okada motorcycles weaving through crowds, and the sizzle of a kara frying in palm oil. Emeka shuffled to a corner by the Gary cellars, his bowl extended like a silent prayer. "Baba, take pity," he croaked, his voice disguised in gravelly tones. Most passed with averted eyes, traders clutching naira notes, children giggling at the mad old man. A few tossed coins, their faces pinched with fleeting mercy. Days blurred into a rhythm of rejection. Emeka slept under bridges, ate scraps from compassionate palms, and watched the world whirl by. His body rebelled. The chill seeped into his joints. Hunger gnawed like termites. But his resolve held, fueled by visions of Chika's future. "One true heart," he murmured. "That's all I ask of Ayla, the Earth Mother." On the 7th day, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in ochre hues, she appeared. Adana. She was a vision amid the chaos, mid-20s, with skin like polished mahogany and hair braided in neat cornrows adorned with cowrie shells. Her wrapper was simple indigo, faded from washes, but she carried herself with the grace of a queen at the masquerade dance. In her arms, a basket of unsold tomatoes. Her trade, meager as it was. The market was thinning, vendors packing, when her eyes met Emeka's. Something in her gaze halted him, a warmth like the first sip of hot pap on a cold morning. She approached, not with pity's haste, but deliberate steps. "Baba," she said softly, her voice carrying the lilt of Igbo hills. "The gods have kept you till evening. Come, share my fire." Emeka's throat tightened. No one had offered more than a coin. He followed her to a small fire pit behind the tomato stalls, where she kindled flames, wood crackling to life, and shared her last morsel of roasted plantain, drizzled with groundnut paste. As they ate in companionable silence, she spoke of her life. Orphaned young, raised by a harsh aunt in the village, now scraping by in the city. "Life tests us like palm kernels in the mortar," she said, quoting an old proverb, her eyes distant. "But kindness is the pestle that crushes hardship." Night after night, Adana sought him out. She mended his rags with needle and thread, the soft prick of steel through cloth, shared stories of her dreams, to own a small provision store, to honor her mother's memory with a proper burial. Emeka listened, his beggar's facade cracking under her gentle probes. "You carry wisdom in your eyes, Baba," she once said, as stars twinkled above the market's din. "Like a chief in disguise." He laughed it off, but inside his heart swelled. She asked nothing in return, save his tales. Fictional yarns of lost loves and wandering spirits that mirrored his own hidden sorrow. Word of the kind tomato girl spread among the beggars, but Emeka guarded their bond like a sacred masquerade. Through her, he glimpsed the woman for Chiki, resilient, with a laugh like river pebbles, eyes that saw beyond surfaces. He learned her kinsmen in Umuahia, not far from his compound. Humble folk, no rivals or curses. "Allah has smiled on me," he whispered one dawn, slipping away before she woke. Back in Umuahia after 2 moons, Emeka shed his rags in the stream, his body frail but spirit alight. Chiki greeted him with worry lines etched deep. "Papa, you look like you've wrestled spirits. What herbs cost such a toll?" Emeka waved it away. Then, over kola nut shared with village elders, unveiled his plan. "Son, I've wandered as a shadow, testing the hearts of daughters. One shines like moonlight on the Anambra, Adana of the Nwosu line. She tends tomatoes in Ogbete, but her soul is richer than oil palms." Chaik's face hardened, a storm cloud over the sun. "Papa, I've met her. In Lagos years ago, at a trader's fair. She laughed with another man, promised moons, then vanished like smoke when hardship called. No, I want no echoes of betrayal." Emeka's world tilted. "Betrayal?" He pressed, but Chike retreated to his fields, Ho in defiant rhythm. The chief's joy curdled to despair. Had his disguise unearthed a flawed gem? Nights brought fever dreams, Adana's face morphing into Neka's accusing. Yet love, like the stubborn baobab, roots deep. Emeka resolved one final test. He sent word through a market boy, inviting Adana to Umuahia under pretense of a dying elder's wish. She arrived at dusk, her wrapper starched crisp, basket laden with gifts, yams, a cloth for the Baba's comfort. The compound gate creaked, and Chike, mistaking her for a stranger, led her to the Obi, the men's hut. There, by lantern light, Emeka waited, not in rags, but his simple kaftan, face clean of ash. Adana froze, eyes widening like full moons. Baba, you? The air thickened, heavy as the scent of incense from the family shrine. Emeka rose slowly, joints protesting. Yes, child, forgive the mask. I am Chief Okonkwo, father to the son you once knew. Chika burst in then, drawn by voices, his face a mask of thunder. What deceit is this, Papa? And you, Adana, why come to mock us further? But here came the twist, sharp as a hidden thorn in the path. Adana did not flee or curse. Instead, tears traced rivers down her cheeks, and she knelt, unfolding a faded letter from her bosom, yellowed, edges frayed like old papyrus. Chike, my love, she whispered, voice breaking like waves on Idoto shores. I never betrayed you. That night in Lagos, after the fair, I waited by the lagoon as promised. But my aunt! She forced me back to the village, sold my bride price to settle debts. I wrote this, sent it through a runner, but it never reached you. For 5 years, I've carried this wound, thinking you scorned me for my poverty. Chaik snatched the letter, his hands trembling. The words blurred through his tears. Pleas for understanding, vows of eternal flame, signed with her blood prick from a market thorn. Adana? I thought. The runner said you wed another. My heart shattered like a goosey pot. Emeka watched, the room spinning. His beggar's wanderings had not just found love. They had mended a fracture time had widened. The ancestors had woven a web more intricate than any Dibia's charm. In the moons that followed, forgiveness bloomed like the flamboyant tree in Hamatan's end. Chike and Adana's union was no hasty affair. It honored traditions. The wine carrying, the cola breaking with elders, dances under torchlight. Emeka, frail now, sat enthroned, his eyes misty as Adana's hand clasped Chika's in the shrine's glow. Their first child, a boy with Chika's obsidian eyes, arrived with the rains, his cries a symphony of renewal. As Emeka's days waned, he gathered them by the mango tree, the one that had birthed his mad plan. See, my children, he rasped, voice a whisper of wind through leaves. Love hides in plain sight, veiled by trials. But kindness, the quiet giving, the unseen hand, strips away the illusions. It is the true mirror of the soul. And in that reflection, they found not just each other, but the village's heart beating anew. Sometimes, the greatest deceptions are acts of the purest love, reminding us that to find what we seek, we must first lose ourselves, and that's how this story ends. If you loved it, please like, comment, and subscribe to Nigerian Storytelling Time. More powerful stories are coming soon.